Now, this is something I was talking about a few videos back with the takeovers on the streets with some of these cars doing stunts, and the one on Thanksgiving got really crazy, man. So there was 3 men now facing felony charges after a series of stunt driving, donut spinning car sideshows that left Chicago police squad cars damaged and a CPD sergeant injured over Thanksgiving weekend. And this is another attack on CPD, man. They've really been getting assaulted by people left and right, shot at, having all types of weapons used against them, and it's definitely a very, very dangerous job, especially here in the city of Chicago, man. Up to 200 cars and hundreds of spectators were involved in some of the intersection blocking incidents, and this is being reported by CWB Chicago. Shout out them. As these vehicles spun circles around rings of fire, a passenger blasted a flamethrower into the air, and some drivers did donuts around a Chicago police squad car. So bystanders threw chunks of asphalt at police cruisers and punched and kicked CPD squad cars as officers tried to disperse the growing crowds. So the social media videos got crazy, man. And I'm not going to play him here. It'll get the video a strike. But a man deployed a flamethrower from a sports car while his driver and another vehicle spun donuts in the intersection of Ogden and Costner early on Sunday morning. And shortly after 1 a.m. Sunday in the 4300 block of South Pulaski, sideshow spectators threw objects at Chicago police, kicked the squad cars, and tried to break the windows of police units. So they were getting attacked left and right, man. There were videos all over social media. At the Pulaski sideshow, Chicago police arrested 2 men on felony charges, and during a bail hearing for the men on Monday afternoon, the prosecutor stated that approximately 200 cars were involved in the incident, during which spectators threw vehicle parts and beer bottles at police cars and kicked CPD vehicles. So I don't know if there's going to be more charges coming later, but it was like an all-out assault on the cops, man. And police saw a guy named Dimitri Perez and Jonathan Hernandez, both 21, try to flee from officers in a car. But at one point, Perez allegedly put his vehicle in reverse and tried to hit a squad car following him with its lights and sirens activated. And that's bad, I agree, and it deserves charges. But I mean, there was a lot of other people doing stuff too. And according to the prosecutor, he missed the CPD unit but struck another vehicle. So once Perez finally pulled over, he again put his car into reverse and accelerated toward an officer at high speed. The cop moved out of the way and took shelter behind another vehicle, but Perez continued on, slamming into another occupied squad car. So he hit a squad car with cops in it. Prosecutors charged Perez with 2 charges of aggravated assault of a peace officer, mob action, criminal damage to government property, and aggravated fleeing, all of which are felonies. He also charged with misdemeanor reckless driving, driving without a license, and vehicle violations. He's been on bail since September, this guy Hernandez, on a felony charge of possessing a firearm with the face serial number. He's charged with felony counts of mob action and possessing a controlled substance. Police said they found cocaine in his possession. So the judge ordered him to pay $5,000 bail deposit to get out of jail, and she held Hernandez without bail for violating bond in his pending gun case. Another man was arrested at a third sideshow that popped up at 24th Street and Archer Avenue around 2:15 a.m. There was a guy named Jesus. He was 31 of DuPage County. He was one of the onlookers who threw asphalt at the Chicago police. Officers who arrived at the scene found about 50 cars and 100 spectators blocking the intersection. Police used loudspeakers to order the crowd to disperse, but that's not what happened. The 9th District, the 9th District Sergeant said, "Be advised," he radioed this. He said, "I have a car doing donuts around me. I could use another car or two." Quote, the sergeant said, "It's going to be a Cadillac." And he said that after the car finished spinning circles around him. He said it's probably doing about 100 miles an hour now toward the 1st District on Archer. Several people began throwing objects, including asphalt, at the police, and this guy specifically threw a chunk. This is the guy, Jesus. He threw a chunk that hit the sergeant's hood and bounced up onto the windshield. Ramos ran from the scene but collided into a fixed concrete structure and fell. So the police tased him 3 times before they could get him under control. The sergeant who chased Ramos suffered injuries to his thumb and knee. Ramos was hospitalized on Monday, awaiting surgery for an unspecified condition, according to an officer who appeared during his bail hearing. And the judge ordered him to pay a $5,000 bail deposit to be released on electronic monitoring. He is charged with felony counts of aggravated assault of a peace officer, resisting arrest, and criminal damage to government property. He has convictions in DuPage County for arson and battery. So whether or not these guys will get any type of significant sentence, I don't know. But I mean, potentially the one guy could have been charged possibly with attempted murder. who would try to hit the cop. And so I don't know if he, was intentionally trying to run that cop over or what, but the cop thankfully got out of the way, man. But you see like just a snapshot of what's going on right now in the streets in Chicago, man, because this is quite a regular occurrence. If you watch the news, national media, you're not going to see this, man, but they're getting attacked like daily, seriously daily. In another incident of that, a woman and a man are now facing felony charges, and 2 other men face misdemeanor charges in connection with a fight between fans of opposing soccer teams in the Gold Coast on Saturday that injured 2 Chicago police officers. Most of the accused are from the suburbs, actually, and police responded to calls of a large fight involving about 15 people outside of a place called Gold Coast Social, which is 7 West Division, at around 4:45 p.m., and this is in a pretty high-end area. There were fans at the bar watching Argentina versus Mexico in the World Cup, and they began fighting after Argentina won. So an officer who was helping to break up the fight asked a guy named Christian, 22, to get out of the street and to stay on the sidewalk. This is according to prosecutors. But instead, allegedly circled a car and punched the female officer in the face. The officer deployed her taser to subdue him, who proceeded to kick a male officer in the face and cause another female officer to suffer bruising and abrasions to her knee. He is charged with 2 counts of felony aggravated battery of a peace officer and resisting. During the incident, officers radioed that some people involved in the fight had fled the scene in a vehicle. Cops found a car matching the description about a block away. So there were a few other charges in the incident, but that World Cup game got quite rowdy, man. The soccer fans don't play. In Europe too, in Latin America, this gets very serious. I mean, these fans they're ready to go to war. I mean, people have been killed over these games, like Africa too, Asia. People can actually like lose their lives if they're somehow blamed for the loss. I remember, I think it was some West African country too. They had stopped the civil war that they were involved in, so that like Pele, this is back when Pele was playing, so he could come and play a game there. Like they stopped fighting, they let him come and play the soccer game, and then they went back to fighting. Like, this is how serious these people take soccer, man. In my country, they do the same thing, and it's more than a sport. It really is. It's more than a sport. It's almost like a nation. It's almost like a miniature battle, like your nation versus these other nations. And it's like people are more happy when your nation wins in a soccer game than they are when they survive a war. It's like, it's really crazy how wrapped up people get in this, man. I used to play soccer when I was younger, man, but at the professional level, to me, they got to do something to up the amount of scoring in it. That's just my personal opinion, man. But to me, there's not enough scoring in soccer. But yeah, man, my thing was basketball. That was my sport, man. But soccer was definitely fun too. But man, to take it to this level of seriousness, man, this is taking it way too far. Your boy, Winnie C. Report. I'm out.